Hi everyone, it's Helen here. Thank you so much for joining me for part 2 of my hardback disc-bound series. In part 1 we made this hardback disc-bound album, but the techniques I'm showing you today you can decorate any mini album or even card with what I'm doing here today. So here are my thoughts. For my front cover I would like to have some sort of shaker element, so I'm thinking this terrific Terrarium shadow frame would be absolutely perfect. So I'll pop a picture here on what this makes. It makes this beautiful glass house, and there's a few different variations that you can make with this, and I'll make sure that I will link that tutorial down below because I'll get some questions on how to do that. The die set is the terrific Terrarium. Sorry, it's super bright, the sun has come out. So I'm going to be turning this upside down to create a little space under there for me to pop in some sequins. If you have sand you can add that in too, but just make sure you seal this really well when you pop that down, just so no sand can escape. But this is absolutely perfect if you want to add things like that. And I also want to add a frame around here. This is a custom sized album, so I am going to use some of the dies that I used to make this album to help me decorate the front cover. I'll also be using the landscape album set, the additions, and also some alphabets. I'm going to start off with the Simply Made Craft one, but I have plenty in my stash. I love alphabet dies, so I'll have plenty to choose from. Okay, so to make the frame I have a piece of acetate. This measures just a smidge under 3.5 inches by 5. That's so it can fit inside this frame perfectly, so just a smidge underneath those measurements. And then we're going to die cut out the frame. So in this die set you get this whole array of things. This is for making the sides or the lid for the glass house, but we're just going to be concentrating on these frames here. So we have the rectangular one, and the square one. This is the one we're going to be working with today. Cuts it all out in one go, super duper easy. And I'll be using antique gold. It's like a really nice pearlescent thick card. Right, let's run that through. Okay, there is our frame done. So before we do any folding I am going to actually glue in my acetate now. That will give us strength around this area here when we're folding. So let's add some glue. This bookbinding glue is now back in stock. So I'm just going to add just a small line of glue all the way around the inside perimeter. And then I'm going to be very careful when I add my acetate sheet over the top of this. If you're not comfortable using glue with your acetate, then definitely use some thin red double-sided tape. So I'm trying my best not to smoosh this around too much. Right, so I'm happy with how that is. I'm not going to touch it anymore. And then let's pop that off to the side to dry fully. Okay, so moving back to our album here, I want to kind of add a frame all the way around. You can easily mat and layer and use more of your patterned paper to do that, but I want to show you quickly how you can quite easily make your own frame. This is a custom sized album, so I am going to use the page mat that comes with the large album, which is basically what was made to, or what was used to make this particular album. We have pockets at the top there, so I'll be using this to help decorate with. So I'm just grabbing out the mats here. There we go, we have this mat. So I'm going to be die cutting that out from the gold, same matching gold cardstock. Okay, so I've got that cut out now. And I'm just going to grab my ruler. This is the Tim Holtz one. I've used this for years and years and years. I actually have 2 on the go just in case I lose one. But this is like a quilting ruler for paper crafters. It's fantastic. So I am actually going to use it like a quilter would by using these grids here to line up with the edge here. I'm just going to use my pencil. This is going to be the underside. Just double check that I haven't got any texture on there. I think this will be the back. Okay, so you can go for 1/4 of an inch or a a 1/2 inch. That might be too thick, we'll see. If we go along here, yeah, it might be too thick, so maybe 3/8 of an inch might be a good in between, because I'm feeling that the 1/4 of an inch is a bit skinny. So I'm just going to use my pencil and just mark all the way around. So I'm lining this up with the 3/8 of an inch. And another great thing about this ruler is that it has the metal edge here, so that when I get my craft knife out, it's not going to cut into my ruler. There we go. So we're now going to lose or cut the inside here, and we won't be wasting any of the bits we cut out either, because that would be a really nice size for something different. So let me grab my craft knife. And then we are literally just going to cut where we have our pencil marks. Try to be as neat as possible in these corners here. Try not to go over the line at the end. Okay, so I have my frame now. Just keep that aside there. We'll use that for something else. I need to find the lid for this now. Here it is. Okay, so let's pop this on there. Oh, I love how that is looking. I think I might have this flat. There is a choice there that you can add some foam tape underneath to lift that up. That would look really good as well. I don't actually have any foam tape, and I don't really fancy popping all of these on there and chopping them up, so it wouldn't give me a neat look either using lots of individual little foam pads. So I'm just going to stick it down flat. So let's do a quick dry run, and this is how it is looking so far. I'm really loving that. Right, it's just occurred to me that I need to make sure that I have this album the right way round. Luckily right now, if I pop this on, there's no mistakes made yet, because there's no direction to this frame. It's just a frame. But do make sure that you keep an eye on the orientation of your album, because the last thing you want to be doing is popping everything on your front cover and realizing you've actually decorated the back cover. I've done that before, and it's really not the best experience. So make sure that you have your album the right way round. Now I know this because I have my pockets at the top, so I know exactly how my album is. Right, so this is coming together really nicely. So let's add some sequins and then decide on some more decorations. Now I have here some peony flowers that I've made. I will fish out the die set that I made for making these. These will look really nice, but I need to look at my sister's photos. If these don't really go with any of her photos, then there's absolutely no point in me popping these on. Yes, they will look really nice, but I want to keep in with the theme of the whole album. Okay, so this glue has more or less dried, so let's fold all of our score lines. It should be super easy now around this area here. And I've got my hot glue gun heating up, because we're going to be using that to pop these little frames together, because I've got a shiny cardstock here. If it's just ordinary matte cardstock, you can just use your bookbinding glue, but because this has got a shiny surface and we're sticking onto the acetate there, I'm going to be using hot glue, because that's really what is going to help keep it down nice and flat and in place whilst it sets. As you can see, the glue has taken quite a bit of time to dry. It's still drying on that acetate. And we have these little flaps here. We're just going to fold those up as well. Not all the way around, just so that they're bent upwards. Okay, so we're going to be starting off with these top and bottom pieces first, so the smaller sections. So the smaller sections have these tabs on, and the same works for the square as well. So start off with the section that has these tabs attached. So we're going to start off with adding a bit of glue all the way along here, and like I said before, if we're using just matte cardstock, just use the bookbinding glue. This folds in on itself and then hold that down. There we go, that's our first one done. Do the next one on the opposite side. I'm using the Sizzix hot glue gun with the stand. I love this. I think I might need to add something weighty on the bottom and stick it to something so that it doesn't move about, but I find that's the same with all of the stands. Okay, so fold these in ever so slightly. There we go. So we're going to start off with this side first. What you need to do first is just do a dry run. This bends it into the place where what it's supposed to be doing, basically. Lets it know. Makes it easier when we have to refold with the glue. So there is an area here on these tabs. You can add the glue to the tabby bit, or you can add it to the cardstock where it's going to touch when it's folded up. And then add a long line of glue along here. Okay, and then roll this up, and then immediately, once that hits the bottom there, get your fingers in the corners and just squeeze very gently, a very gentle squeeze. Turn it around, do the same on the other side, do another quick dry run, and then add your glue. I'm just adding it to the side panel there. And then pop that in. There we go, and keep these corners nice. This one has come out ever so slightly, but as it's going to be hidden, turned over, it's going to be like this. You can't tell a thing. Now, as this is quite static, just get yourself a little cloth or something, a bit of tissue, something lint free, just to clean off anything that has stuck to it. And then you're ready to go. Okay, so let's add our sequins. I just pulled these out my stash. I did actually buy them in individual little bags, but I popped them into a little container just to keep them in colour order, and it's easy to store as well. So I think I definitely want to have the gold, and I want to go for the paler gold than this gold here. It's quite garish, so it's always difficult to know how much to add. So I'm just going to start off with popping everything in the middle. My glue gun is still there, ready to go, because I'm going to be grabbing that to add my frame. Now I need some other colours to add to this. I'm just wondering if this is going to be a bit too much for the front cover. I definitely want to add some of this blue, so we'll definitely add those. And I think that might just be enough. I am going to add some leaves to the frame as well, just a quick dry run. I have here the Ultimate Leaves die set. That is also in the sale at the moment, and I'll be adding these leaves with this colour as well. So I'm not too sure if I want to introduce any pink at all. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to add these flowers or not. There's nothing really in her photos for these. These would look really good, but I don't think it goes in with the holidays. So I could add some silver as well. I wish I had some darker blue sequins. Let me see if I have some. I do. Here we go. I must have had a bit of an overflow with the colours. There we go. I think this should go. Oh yes, there we go. I'm enjoying this. Isn't it great when things just come together and you're like, yep, I'm happy to move forward with that decision. I'm definitely going to need more sequins. I'll be cleaning up sequins later, I believe. I think I might need more. Got to remember I have this massive 1/4 inch gap here to fill. So if you have other embellishments or other trinkets that you can pop in this, it would fit. So as long as they're quite thin, you should be okay. So I probably need to add some more of these blue here. Okay, I think that's enough. Yes, that's plenty. Okay, let's get all this back into the middle again. Double check that fits over, because once I get this glue onto the back of the frame, I'm just going to pop it down. So hot glue all the way around. We don't want any escapees. Just going to try lift that up to make sure that it is straight. It's quite a geometric pattern, so it's definitely going to help line things up. And then we can move things around. Some of it might get stuck underneath there. I quite like that. That's very pretty. Right, so let's carry on with decorating. I'm going to die cut these leaves out, and I'm also going to die cut my letters. The cruise ship they were on was Iona, so some of you may know that one already. It's quite a popular ship for the European journeys, so I'll definitely be popping the name on the front of the cover as well. Okay, so I'm just die cutting out some peonies. Actually, these are going to be different sort of peonies, and I think they're going to match the project much better. I've got everything die cut out now, so let me finish these off. We'll pop these together. I'll show you exactly how I do that, and then we can start gluing things down onto our front cover. Okay, so I've just die cut 3 of these. The die set I have used, oh, it's hidden somewhere. Here it is. It's the Ultimate Peony. I'm really going into all of my botanicals at the moment. It's that perfect time of year, especially as I know my peony tree. I have a little tiny peony tree bush out in my back garden, and it's just starting to flower, and it hasn't flowered in a few years, so I'm absolutely super excited that I have it's got 2 blooms on it. Not many, it's not a prolific bloomer, but I'm super happy that it's doing that. So I'm using my bone folder here, just pulling these all the way around. I love these peony this peony die set. You can make so many different types of peonies with these. You can make this one, got a little pearl in the center there. Oh, it's got very dark, hasn't it? And this one I've closed up. I'll do another closed up one. You can use it with crepe paper to make these beautiful peonies here. Oh, I love that. So many different looks that you can get with just a die, and this is the smallest die. The big one is pretty big. So let's get these all glued together. I am going to actually use my hot glue gun just to get these 2 central pieces popped together. I'll do the same for the other one. There's a lot brighter on the sun myself. I should make more glue for this one. There. Okay, I'm going to alternate these now, so the petals are going to be staggered, as it would be with a normal flower. And then we're going to pop this one inside here. Oops, don't glue it to your mat. There we go. I've got 3 peonies there, one sort of opening up. I did actually take that from another project. Shh. Nothing wrong with recycling. Right, so here is what I've come up with so far. Now I know Iona is a funny old word to be mixing up like this. This would be perfect if it said love or something like that, but my sister will recognise this as saying Iona, and I will add some more detail, some more wording somewhere else so it says Iona here as well. I just thought it looked really good. I did have it going along the top here, but I thought it looked much better with it covering and adding more interest on the window section. Now I've got here those 2 leaves, and again everything that I'm using here is listed down below, so it's really easy for you to find. And I'm thinking we could just add some little flowers here. There are some colours in her photographs. There's a lot of corals, but this colour that I've chosen for this will go pretty well with the photographs. And maybe thinking I only needed the 2 flowers really. It might be too much, but then just 2 looks a bit odd, so things always work in 2s or 3s, odd numbers always look better. So I think I need to make these a little bit higher, so have a little audition, play with things around, things like that. I think this would look better framing that window there, and we pop these just here. There we go. I think that looks much better, and I want to get these leaves stuck down really nicely as well because they're quite delicate. It's on a front cover of something, so I kind of just want it to be, you know, drawable. So I'm happy. I am happy with that. So I might just bring these leaves down a little bit lower as well. And guys, this might be a long video, but your front cover is worth your time and effort. Okay, I'm happy with that, and I'm going to get all this glued down. Okay, my big dark cloud has come over, so I have opened the curtains a little bit, but I'm just getting these popped down. Now I'll try not to move these around because it is on acetate, so if you smoosh them around with the wet glue, it may come out, squidge out, and it's actually really difficult to get dried glue off the acetate without it leaving a mark. So I love how that's looking. I'm not going to fiddle with those anymore. I do have a little bit of lifting, but we'll just have to live with that. Okay, so let's get all of these leaves down now. Okay, I'm just popping on my last little peony on there. The die set does come with its own little peony leaves as well, but I wanted to reflect some of the foliage that are in the photographs. So I've got all the leaves glued down. I'm loving how that is looking. It's like a little shaker thing. Now there is key information missing from this album. It just says Iona, which it will mean something to the person I'm giving it to. But what if this person goes on multiple Iona holidays, or people are looking at this and, you know, some of her friends might look at it and go, oh, this is, you know, Iona, you know, they won't know what it's about. So what else I'm going to do is I'm going to add here the date, so she knows this is going to be March 2004. I'll be popping that there, and I may even pop in some of the destinations. There was Lisbon, there was Cadiz, there was let's get the list, Santa Cruz, there was Tenerife, there was Madeira, and there was also cruise days, Captain's Night, and they did have one cancellation. They were unable to go to Lanzarote because the weather was hugely windy. So I'll be making sure I document that in the album as well. So that's as far as I'm going to go today. I will be adding some more information on there. I'm thinking maybe black or white or something like that for my, I may even go onto my computer or even use a label maker. We'll see, we'll see. I am going to take some time now to think about how I'm going to finish this completely. So thank you very much for joining me for today's tutorial. I love how this has turned out. So there's definitely going to be part 3 and probably a part 4 as well, because I've got loads of photos to add to these pages and the inserts in as well. So everything that I've used today is listed down below. If you are a VIP, don't forget you get your 10% off. Plus at the moment there is the dies die sale on Craftsdash, so definitely pop along there. There are loads of dies that I have used in this video here that are also included in that sale, and that finishes, I believe, on the 19th of April. So thank you very much for joining me today. Give me a thumbs up if you like this one, and I'll see you again soon.